I'm Terry Hutchins from allhoosiers.com with Nathan Brown, Nolan Blair. We're at Mackey Arena where today Indiana falls to Purdue 82-64. IU drops to 4-8. Since beating Michigan at home a few weeks ago, which seems like a long time ago, Indiana has now lost games at Minnesota, here today, and then Penn State sandwiched in the middle. I think I wrote at the beginning of this week that this was really a must-win 2 games for Indiana. You come out with 2 losses. Where do you think Indiana is right now?
I don't necessarily know that Penn State loss lingered around from earlier this week, but earlier in the first half they had things going and things got away from them very quickly. The end of the first half where Purdue scored the last 5 points to get ahead, 38-33, and then ran off 14-1 more in the at the beginning of the second half. IU just really didn't have an answer, and I don't think, as Tom Crean said in the press conference, Purdue was shooting a lot better than their averages, but they weren't all that impressive. IU, I think, was just that poor at everything that they were doing, missing layups. I think 12, Crean said, that they missed this evening, and there was just really nothing going right. Vonleh got into early foul trouble and had to sit down, and it went from there.
I think you kind of hit the nail on the head a little bit there with what you said about, just how things went wrong. It was kind of like Northwestern all over again, the day that Indiana was 15 of 60 from the field. Today, IU starts out 8 for 16, goes 1 for 15 in the last 7:40-something of the first half, and then I think we figured it out. There was a stretch from when Jeff Howard makes a field goal at the end of the first half with like 2:33 to go. Indiana goes 9.5 minutes without a field goal, and it's just one of those things where you just cannot compete in the Big Ten Conference playing like that.
Well, that's the thing. And this team, I guess it's been the story of the whole season. There's so much athleticism on the court, but they just can't seem to put it together. And sure, they can in some stretches, but there have been plenty of stretches this year where nothing is happening, and that's been a huge issue. So I guess the question is how are they going to reduce those terrible stretches of no points? And right now, I don't know if they can.
The one thing that I keep coming back to, if this team could win a couple of more games, let's say they win 2 or 3, let's say they finish 7, maybe 8, but even if it's 7 wins, with the way that Big Ten tournament's going to be, anything could really happen. It's just going to be a matter of who plays defense, who doesn't turn the ball over, maybe who catches fire, gets a little bit of momentum. That is the one thing Indiana still has going for it. At the same time, boy, the way they have played the last 3 games, you just don't have a sense that this thing is going to get turned around anytime soon. And I think that's the frustrating thing. Nolan, we talked a little about Noah Vonleh too. And, again, something we wrote about on allhoosiers.com in our Hoosier Game Day today was, what would happen if Noah Vonleh happened to get 2 quick fouls? Well, that's exactly what happens. He gets 2 fouls in the first 7 minutes. Then they put him back in. He's in a minute and a half. He gets his 3rd foul. When this team is as thin up front as it is right now, you got to have Noah Vonleh on the court.
Right, and you could tell Jeff Howard missed, of some notable missed layups there, and he just looked uncomfortable. And that's really, and that is, you're right. Without Noah Vonleh in there being a presence, and when he's in foul trouble, you could tell Purdue was driving up on him. And Noah Vonleh, being young, didn't really know how to. It seemed like to defend with two or three fouls, and Crean touched on that in the press conference. But it's going to be tough. And Yogi, he shot 17 times today, so you can tell that he took a lot of the load and ended up with 27 points. But still, you got to spread it out more. With Vonleh not on the court, it's tough to do.
I'm not going to fault Jeff Howard only because he was 1 for 3. He did miss 2 shots he could have made, but he's a walk-on,
right?
Senior walk-on from Westfield, Indiana. And that play, he misses that free throw and he dives over at the Purdue bench and saves the ball. That was a crazy play. I actually thought Jeff Howard, just for what they got out of him, wasn't that bad today myself. Now, Yogi, he scores 27 points. He's the leading scorer in the Big Ten right now. But, what was he, 6 for 17?
I think so.
And, It just seemed, I think somebody asked Matt Painter about it, and he said, he just never really felt like Yogi got in a rhythm. And getting in that rhythm, as we saw against Michigan when he hit 7 of 8 threes, that rhythm is really important for Yogi.
No, and I think it's contagious too. I mean, when guys on IU see Yogi struggling too, even though he's taking most of the shots, I mean, he's such a good shooter that a lot of them are going to fall. But, when he takes 17 shots and he only gets to 27 points, that's not going to be enough for IU when he's taking shots that other people, aren't able to. When he's on the court and he's really IU's only consistent shooter, it's a big problem not being able to get the ball inside to Vonleh. He didn't really get going much at all today, even though he was in double figures. And, I don't think you can only have one really, really consistent scorer on this team. And I think Vonleh could be, that second man if they could get the ball inside to him more, but tonight that wasn't going to happen.
Indiana's now 14-11, 4-8 in the Big Ten after falling at Purdue today, 82-64. Continue to follow our coverage at allhoosiers.com. Nathan and I will have a lot of stuff up tonight, and overnight, Nolan will be providing some video, and so just continue to check out our work, and we'll see you next time.